We read from the Bhagavad-gita As It Is, from the 18th chapter, text 1869 to 71, title chapter title, Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation. Na cha tasman manusyesu kashin me priya kritama bhavitana cha me tasman anya priyataro bhuvi. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. So this verse is referring to the previous verse. I just read the translation so we get the context. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. And then this text, there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. No purport. So text 17. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. Text 71. And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. Purport. In the 67th verse of this chapter, the Lord explicitly forbade the Gita's being spoken to those who are envious of the Lord. Sorry. Jet lag. In other words, Bhagavad-gita is for the devotees also. But it so happens that sometimes a devotee of the Lord will hold open class, and in that class, not all the students are expected to be devotees. Why do such persons hold open class? It is explained here that although not everyone is a devotee, still there are many men who are not envious of Krishna. They have faith in him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If such persons hear from a bona fide devotee about the Lord, the result is that they become at once free from all sinful reactions, and after that attain to the planetary system where all righteous persons are situated. Therefore, simply by hearing Bhagavad-gita, even a person who does not try to be a pure devotee attains the result of righteous activities. Thus, a pure devotee of the Lord gives everyone a chance to become free from all sinful reactions and to become a devotee of the Lord. Generally, those who are free from sinful reactions, those who are righteous, very easily take to Krishna consciousness. The word punya karmana is very significant here. This refers to performance of great sacrifices like the Ashvamedha mentioned in the Vedic literature. Thus, those who are righteous in performing devotional service, but who are not pure, can attain the planetary system of the pole star, or Dhruva Loka, where Dhruva Maharaj is presiding. He is a great devotee of the Lord and has a special planet which is called the pole star. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnanana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So all these verses, all three of them, are very nice. There's no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. This is discussing one who is discussing the glories of the Lord, or the message of the Lord. To somehow or other discuss or hear this message about the glories of the Lord, the instructions of the Lord. That is perfection. That is the activity from the spiritual world. As soon as such glorification is there, Golokira Premadana, Harinama Sankirtana. That is Sankirtan. Then the spiritual world descends. Then we are actually in the spiritual world. So, therefore, such discussions are very important because they can immediately remove the cloud of illusion that covers the living beings and makes them forget actually the true nature of things. The true nature of things is that we are not at all in the material world. But due to the influence of the illusory energy, we think that we are in the material world. But in actuality, we are in the spiritual world. Therefore, the living being never falls from the spiritual world because we never left in the first place. We are still there. But somehow or other now, due to illusory energy, we are not perceiving it. And therefore sometimes it is said that the living beings fall from the spiritual sky. But one who is glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead is an instrument of upliftment, because Nityasiddha Krishna Prem Kali-yuga Shavanadi Sudachita Kali-yuga, that by hearing this transcendental sound and by chanting, one's original love of God becomes awakened. Once that love of God becomes awakened, then Krishna becomes purchased. Krishna. And that is spiritual life. Spiritual life is sometimes misunderstood as an ascending process. A process where the living being is meant to acquire more and more spiritual power. And by dint of that spiritual power, then he can elevate himself to greater regions. And as his spiritual power increases, he can connect to all living beings. But that is an ascending model. It is not recognizing the mercy of the Supreme Lord and that we are being lifted up by Krishna rather than by our own strengths, the Aroha Panta and the Avaroha Panta, the ascending path or the descending path. The descending path then is Krishna. When Krishna manifests himself, either in topics about him that are being discussed, or by chanting his name, or in his deity form, or in his tadiya, in all the things that are related to him, such as it says Ganga and Yamuna. They are rivers, they're not Krishna. So why make so much out of a river? Yes, but these rivers have been touched by the lotus feet of Krishna. Therefore, these rivers are now fully transcendental. It's not just ordinary water anymore. Now that water has the same effect that association with Krishna directly has. That is the nature of Krishna. Tulasi, also Tadiya. So many places where Krishna has been, Tadiya, all these places transformed by Krishna's touch. And the pure devotee carries Krishna. He is Krishna's carrier, carries Krishna within his heart. And therefore the pure devotee, he is also Tadiya, and he can also make Tadiya. He can also transform He can transform places. He can transform people. He has the power to somehow or other transform the three worlds. It is said that one of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were so potent that each one of them could deliver the entire universe. So that is the nature of pure devotional service. One must listen then to the descriptions about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the listener must be free from envy, free from competition with the Supreme Lord, and free from competition with all other living beings, and free from the desire to establish himself as the superior, as the supreme. Rather, a devotee is always seeing himself as inferior, seeing himself as fallen, seeing himself, therefore, as very fortunate to be in the association of the Vaishnavas, very fortunate to receive transcendental knowledge, not deserving, right? Very fortunate to have the opportunity to do some devotional service. In this way, as soon as we can see ourselves as fallen and insignificant, then immediately there's gratitude. Immediately we can appreciate. Gratitude is difficult to realize when one is proud. So, in this way, the non-envious, humble candidate is fertile ground for the seed of bhakti to sprout, and from there the creeper of pure devotional service may grow and may eventually flourish and produce fruits. That is the purpose of life. There is no other purpose in life. Maybe the material energy dictates so much behavior. When we're children, we play. That is controlled by material nature. As we are adults, we become involved in lusty activities, and that is dictated by material nature. As old age approaches, one is in a precarious position. When you're young, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever comes, we'll deal with it, because we have one thing: unlimited energy. Right? Therefore, whatever problem arises, somehow or other, we'll deal with it. But as old age comes, one becomes gradually weaker, and one becomes fragile and vulnerable. And one's vulnerability comes to the foreground. And so one begins to think of protection. One begins to think of shelter. One begins to think of security. Who will take care of me in my old age? Of course, we remember Magrari, who was a ruthless, merciless hunter who would half kill animals. And one day Narada Muni and Parvata Muni passed by, and Narada Muni happened to see all these animals half killed and suffering tremendously and still alive, and said, who who is this sinful person who did this? Then came upon Mugrari and basically convinced Mugrari to give up these sinful activities. And then Mugrari, then Narada said, you should give up this hunting. And Mugrari said, but how can I do that, How can I give up my bow? How will I live? That's my livelihood. You're asking me in the name of spirituality to give up my livelihood. That's very scary. So Mugrari was fearful, but Narada reassured him and said, don't worry about your livelihood, I will provide. Then give up everything that you have and just make a simple hut and dress in one cloth and just stay there along with your wife. So he did. And then what occurred was that Mugrari was surprised that so many people came and all brought something because they could see, oh, now he is a devotee. And they started to give him things and support him. And in this way, all his needs were fulfilled. And therefore, that is the best security. That is the best security. We may have this insurance and that insurance, but the best insurance is the goodwill of the devotees. What better insurance is there? Because there we'll get support when we need it, and we'll get the real care that we need. You can have an insurance and you wind up in some hospital and maybe treated in an impersonal way. But when we are with Vaishnavas, they will always remind us of Krishna in any condition. What care is complete without that? Therefore, simply by ourselves taking up devotional service, naturally Vaishnavas will come, because we Vaishnavas are always in need of association. Vaishnavas in this materialistic world are starving for devotee association. Desiring to hear about Krishna, so much mundane information, constantly, all day, and one feels it's draining. Mundane information, mundane environment, draining. Some relief in the association of devotees. Oh yes, for that we are ready to travel, ready to take austerity, because not only is the association of devotees offering us relief from the pangs of material existence, but more so, the association of devotees is increasing our eagerness to serve Krishna. This eagerness is most essential. Tatralulyam apimulyam ekalam. It is that eagerness that is required. Eagerness to serve. So in the community of Vaishnavas, that desire to serve is awakened, and therefore hearing in the association of the Vaishnavas is very important. Vaishnavas then must be purely situated. Srila Prabhupada explained that verse, akama sarva kama vamoksha kama udhariditi vrina bhakti yogena yayeta purusham param, and pointed out that whether one has material desires or doesn't have material desires, but he should situate himself in the unadulterated process of devotional service. In other words, be safe within that process, and then one's association becomes most desirable, even if there are some imperfections still in the character. Such imperfections are totally negligible, totally unimportant. We may see, a devotee has a short temper. A devotee can sometimes be harsh. The devotees are not friendly. Doesn't matter at all, because devotees are engaging in devotional service, and therefore they give us devotional service, and all other things are not important, because devotional service is such a great gift and so potent that even a tiny little bit of it can change our entire destiny, life after life. Life after life, we may wander through this universe. Talabhyate uparyada, sometimes going upwards, sometimes going downwards, and that cycle continues life after life. Brahmanda brahmite kona bhagyavana jiv. The living being becomes fortunate by the mercy of a Vaishnava. By the mercy of a Vaishnava, one becomes Bhagyavan Ajiv. Bhagyavan, Bhagya means auspicious, fortunate. Bhagyavan, one who possesses good fortune. Such a Jiv has received the mercy of a Vaishnava. So, such Vaishnavas are like sparsamani, transcendental touchstone. Such Vaishnavas can just touch everyone. In his Chaitanya Siksamrita, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining that a devotee who has nistha, who has firm determination in devotional service, that such a devotee can give shraddha to someone else, can give faith, actually. Yeah. That makes sense. Of course, one can also be the carrier of a book, of a great pure devotee, and then in that way pass on faith, even if one doesn't have such nistha, even if one himself is still wavering in devotional service, or even not following properly. Many of us came in contact with Krishna consciousness through a person who had a connection but was not really following. But it didn't matter. Still carried the mercy, still had the potency, because he was a representative. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, to continue with Chaitanya Siksamrita, is saying one who is in nistha, who has firm determination, he can give shraddha. Now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, nistha means madhyam adhikari, the intermediate devotee. So, one who is a madhyam adhikari, nistha means firm faith. Shraddha sapta vishwaskai sudrida nischay Krishna bhakti koila sarvakama kritahai. That he's very convinced that all good will come from Krishna consciousness. and nothing good from anything else. And therefore, he's not going to invest any energy in anything else, even if he still has some attachments. He says, these attachments are foolish. Somehow or other, I'm so foolish that I have these material desires, but I know it deep down in my heart that it will not be enough. Even if I pursue these material desires, I know it will not be enough. I know it's simply a waste of time, although at the same time I'm foolishly attached also. Isn't it awkward how it's possible in one person that you can, on the one hand, know very well that there's no point in pursuing this. It's not going to work. I know it's not going to work. And on the other hand, you still do it. Anyway, but in Nistha said, no, I will not do this anymore. Even if the desires are still there, even if the attachment is there, no, I have no faith in them. And therefore, I will not. All my faith is in devotional service. Madhyam Adhikari, advanced devotee, advanced. And such a devotee is just a wonderful personalities who can just uplift people everywhere. Such a devotee acts as a spiritual master. Yarideke taraka Krishna upadesh amaragyaya guru hari tari desh. Somehow or other, such a personality is delivering conditioned souls. Of course. Then there are other Vaishnavas. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur continues and says, a devotee who has attained bhava, that means ecstatic symptoms, a devotee who is avyakta kalatvam, namagana sadaruchi, who is not wasting a moment, who is always chanting the name of the Lord, such a devotee who is absorbed in devotional service and great happiness. Such a devotee is, where is such a devotee found in this world? Such a devotee who is deeply ecstatic and deeply absorbed. Such a devotee cannot only give faith, such a devotee can give ruchi, says Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He can give taste, deep taste. In the Chaitanya Charita, or not Chaitanya Charita, in the Nectar of Devotion, also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, but originally in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we are reading about Chayabhav, about the reflection of pure ecstasy from devotional service. Such reflection can manifest in the heart of an ordinary soul, an ordinary conditioned soul, and suddenly an ordinary conditioned soul can become uplifted, and an ordinary conditioned soul can start acting on a level of Krishna consciousness beyond where they are. Simply they can be uplifted by that association. And it said, when there is prolonged association, then that can become permanent as well, that Chayabhav. So, Chayabhav, of course, this whole movement has been operating on Chayabhav. Simply Prabhupada, by his wonderful Krishna consciousness, pure, unadulterated, uncomplicated. A Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada said it himself, Krishna consciousness is so simple, you might just miss it. Right? A very nice, simple life. No need for so many complex material arrangements. And for oneself, minimize. And for Krishna,
maximize. For Krishna, it's not good enough. Oh no. And for the representative of Krishna also. Oh, Swami comes in a Rolls Royce. It's not good enough, Prabhupada said. Should have been a golden Rolls Royce. Yes. And even that is not good enough. Should be studded with jewels. Yes. And even an ordinary Rolls Royce is not good enough. It should be a Vimana, right? It should be a transcendental plane. And even a transcendental plane, it should be a devotee, right? A devotee who personally carries the Lord, because that is still better. Should be Garuda, should be Hanuman, should be Sridham, who took the form of Garuda and became the carrier of Govinda. And one can see in Vrindavan, Garuda Govinda, those deities, the deity where Sridham took that place. We went there this year, we took the devotees there, because it's a place where we never go, because it's too close to the Krishna Balaram Mandir. So you get in the car to go on a parikrama and you just drive past Garuda Govinda 1,000 times on the way to everywhere and never stop there. But it's actually a very nice temple. Very, very nice and very close. Near Chatikara. So there, the carrier of Krishna and the devotees, they carry Krishna not only on the shoulders, but they carry Krishna within the heart. So to be the carrier of Krishna, and everywhere, to somehow or other bring Krishna, and to avyakta-kalatvam, not waste a moment. Such ecstatic devotees give taste even to a mundane person. Someone who has absolutely no prior association with Krishna consciousness, who doesn't know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but such exalted devotees give taste. Suddenly, give a new taste. And of course, Prabhupada explains in the introduction of the Nectar of Devotion that everything moves by taste. Everything. Without taste, things don't move very well. I have no taste. But it's your duty. Yeah, I know. How long can I do this? So taste is valuable. And it is a gift. It is a precious gift. And great Vaishnavas can just transfer this gift upon those who otherwise have had so far only taste for degraded activities. And suddenly, finer sentiments begin to awaken in fallen conditioned souls. Amazing. Those who eat abominable things and whose every bite is based on cruelty. With every bite, the cruelty increases. See, each act of cruelty leaves remnants of cruelty in the heart. Therefore, with each bite, the cruelty in the heart is increasing. But even those, right, who become, and as a result, the heart is cruel and becomes dull. Whereas a question of finer sentiment becomes gross. Whereas a question, finer sentiments involve the welfare of others, involve compassion. Then one is sensitive. Then one is looking. How is how are others faring? But one who is increasing cruelty with every bite and becomes hard-hearted and dull, not caring about any feelings other than their own, totally self-absorbed, always thinking of their own situation, always thinking of their needs, their advantage. Oh, absolutely no sentiment for others. I would call it the Agasura syndrome, right? Because Agasura is described as actually a powerful yogi who by mystic power took the form of that enormous snake because Agasura was cold-blooded. He was totally cold-blooded, and it is described that for him, living beings were utensils. A utensil. So that is gross. That is gross. Finer sentiment is about the welfare of others and the welfare of all. And that brings its complexities because people are in so many states of life. And accordingly, they need to be dealt with. Therefore, we're seeing that a topmost devotee on the platform of praying, such a devotee is ready to deal with the petty things of a conditioned soul, just as we deal with children. Children have, like childish sentiments, which childish sentiments are connected to very insignificant objects. It's like I tell the story about my little golden Jaguar toy car, which I lost in the sandpit. Now, this was the end of the world, right? Really, the world just had come to an end. It had happened, right? It was like the total dissolution, the destruction of the universe was happening. My golden Jaguar was lost in the sandpit. I took severe action. I got a big shovel and dug up all the sand until I came to the black earth. And I didn't find it. I've actually never found my golden Jaguar. But I got over it. Believe it or not. It took a little time, but I got over it, and I began to see that a toy is just a toy, and it wasn't so important. And now, as an adult, I never look at toy cars again. And, even if it would be solid gold, maybe I would have some interest in the thing. Otherwise, you couldn't tempt me with a golden Jaguar these days. Even, if you'd bring me a life-size one, I would gladly accept it and sell it as soon as possible, right? And use the money for something more useful for Krishna. So I've lost that attachment. But at that time, my emotions were invested in this small thing. And if someone would have said, if an adult would have said, come on, don't make such a big thing, it's just a toy car. I mean, come on, I would have lost it then. I would have exploded. I'd have said like this. I would have thrown a tantrum for sure. This, how? So So in the same way, the pure devotee deals with all the petty little sentiments of mundane personalities who've invested their emotions in small and important things that can never satisfy the heart. In all the dry and bitter fruits from this world. And the pure devotee patiently deals with all this, deals with all these problems. That is what it means to come down to the Madhyam Adhikari platform. That one has to deal. When the Uttama Adhikari, the topmost devotee, comes down to the Madhyam Adhikari platform, it means he deals with all these things of the world that have no meaning to him. He deals with people that have problems with desires or coming forth of desires that he doesn't have. Like one devotee spoke to Prabhupada about the Oedipus complex, which was a Freudian thing, right? The Oedipus complex, where it said that every man is ultimately looking for his mother, and in every woman looking for his mother, and actually Freud translates everything in sex. So according to Freud, every man wants to have sex with his mother. And Prabhupada, so the devotee explained this. He said, this is true. And Prabhupada said, it may be true in your case, but not in my case. Isn't it? Very nice. Prabhupada, whatever small desires of this world people may have had, the pure devotee doesn't have them. And yet he comes down to deal with them, deal with these material desires. Yes, and patiently with understanding that you cannot just instantly, just on the push of a button, expect a person to rise above these desires. Therefore, therefore Prabhupada organized marriage, he said, as a sannyasi, although generally sannyasis are sort of keeping a bit of a distance from marriage. I wasn't this one. Marriage ceremony with Sachinandan Swami, and then Sachinandan Swami, who's very charming, he says, today we are here for this marriage ceremony, and I will tell you now something that's very important. So please pay attention. And he says, normally, on normal occasions, sannyasis, they bring auspiciousness, except on one occasion, at the time of a marriage. And that is why Kadamba Kanana Swami used my name. Kadamba Kanana Swami and myself are leaving now. And we just stood up and walked out, in the middle of the crowd. Everyone says, oh yes, they have to leave. I said, I would never been able to do such a thing. He has that ability, to do these things. Amazing Shakti. I would have sitting there thinking, how do we get out of here without knowing how to get out of here. Oh, gosh. Well, anyway, yeah. So, but Prabhupada, he himself became the officiating priest. Prabhupada himself made all these arrangements. That was not standard. But he did so out of compassion. He did so because he could see it is required. It is needed. When one is young, that is needed. So, in this way, Hare Krishna, thank you for coming. I know you're going to Radha.
Oh, Maharaj, I love it.
No, that's very nice.
I'm trying to get everybody in this week.
You're smart. So we wish you. This was only the warm-up.
See you tomorrow.
This was only the warm-up, and now you're going to get the real juice.
I love your class, Maharaj.
No, that's okay. We loved your presence. Hare Krishna. Anyway, so in this way, yes, there is, tonight we're talking about Krishna and his devotees on 2nd Avenue, and others talk about Krishna and his devotees on 1st Avenue, and there should be someone on every avenue, right? Because all avenues should lead to Krishna. Right? What else are avenues for? Right? Any avenue that doesn't lead to Krishna is a dead-end street. Right? You go that avenue, and at the end leads to nowhere. Like Shakespeare is speaking about ambition. And he says, ambition is like rings on water that form like when you throw a stone in the water. And said, and these rings, they will just expand and expand and expand until they disappear into naught. You know, that is N-A-U-G-H-T, which means nothing. Disappear into naught. Yeah, that's what happens, dead-end street. So, anybody who is faithful, any faithful follower of Prabhupada, any faithful means who has enough faith in Prabhupada to just represent Prabhupada to the best of their ability. Now, if we don't know very much, right? If we know only a little about Prabhupada's teachings, all right, then faithfully present that. Prabhupada said, when a child has learned from his father, this is coconut, then he has become an authority. He can tell everyone, this is coconut. Now, he may have never eaten a coconut, he may have no experience, or he may have never drunk the water from a coconut. He certainly may not be a fully realized coconut acharya. But nonetheless, right, he can already immediately, although a child, can immediately give transcendental mercy. And I can give you a practical example. I was in the Netherlands, which happens to be the country where I'm from, and going to a program in a city called Rotterdam. Now, I think that name is kind of suitable because that city is horrible. I tell you why. I'm sorry for people who live in Rotterdam and watch this. I mean, it's okay. It's very good that in such a place you're practicing devotional service, and that makes everything auspicious. But, and my story will show that also, we were in Rotterdam. And Rotterdam is a place that was bombed to pieces in the Second World War because it's a major port on the European continent. And it was just bombed flat in the Second World War. Then after the Second World War, it was rebuilt in a modern concrete style. And that in the Netherlands, or post-war Netherlands, where soon enough people start to smoke dope, and all the architects were stoned when they designed Rotterdam. It's just too much, really. There's like houses which are like a cube, right? Can you believe it? But because I guess the architect had a paperweight on his desk in the shape of a cube, then designed the house. And then because he smoked one too many, he said, let's put it on the point. So a cube that stands on its point. There are windows that look at the stars and windows that look at the ground, but no windows that look straight. Rotterdam. Absolutely crazy. Insane. And there's so many other things. Anyway, this place is just full of heroin. And it's just drug addicts everywhere. So we stand at the bus stop and this drug addict comes and says, hey man, get some money, hey man. And I've been in India and you learn sort of how to deal with a beggar. So the system is never make eye contact, do not smile, and look with a very straight, cold face. No eye contact. And then just move your hand like this. And I guarantee you, any beggar goes. Yeah? If you ever have to get rid of a beggar, it works. So I did my India trick on him, and sure enough, off he went. Now I was with a new bhakta, and then the new bhakta calls him back. Oh, my lucky day for being out with a new bhakta. He calls him back and says, wait, I have something for you. He pulls out of his bag a piece of apple from breakfast, totally brown. And he says, look, prasadam. Right? He had a lot. And the hippie just looked. What is it? And then the bhakta says, open your mouth. Right? And he did it. He opened his mouth and the bhakta, very resolute, popped that piece of apple into his mouth. And with that, he gave him human birth in the next life. Right? That's what Srila Prabhupada said. Anyone takes prasadam, human birth guaranteed. So after 3 weeks in the Hare Krishna movement, after 3 weeks of practicing bhakti yoga, you're already so powerful that you can give human birth to those who are destined to be animals. See the potency. So in this way, it's not only that only and exclusively only the Paramahansa, only the Paramaprasthapriya Saki reincarnated into this world can deliver the fallen conditioned souls from this world. No, even a new bhakta with a brown piece of apple can do miracles. That is the mercy of the pure devotee. Okay, I have a phone and I want to quickly find it. Now, here it is. Give me one moment and now look at Tompkins. Hey. Tompkins Square Park. Okay, I have a lot on Tompkins. Maybe it's this one. Yes. So, this is an offering written by Giriraj Swami in 1977 to Prabhupada when Prabhupada was present on the planet. Was written in April, I think. And so Tamal Krishnamurti said, and asked Prabhupada to hear the poem or the offering that Giriraj Maharaj wrote, prayer. Giriraj, my dear Lord Krishna, you are known as Yogeshwar, the master of all mystic powers. So it's very easy for you to perform the impossible, as you've done many times in the past. By your merciful glands, you restored life to the boys and cows who had died by drinking the water of the Yamuna River, which was poisoned by Kali-yuga. And you swallowed the devastating forest fire to protect the inhabitants of Vrindavan. In the Rasa dance, you expended yourself to be simultaneously present by the side of each gopi, and as Guru Dakshin, you recovered the dead son of your teacher. When the hunchback maidservant of Kamsa smeared you with sandalwood pulp, you made her straight and beautiful.
And as a householder in Dwarka, you expanded yourself into 16,000 Krishnas and simultaneously satisfied all your 16,000 wives. When Sudama Brahmana offered you chipped rice, you transformed his pure cottage in a beautiful palace suitable for the King of Heaven. And to satisfy Mother Devaki, you returned her dead sons from the kingdom of Bali. To appease the Dwarka Brahmana, you also reclaimed his dead sons from Mahavishnu. When Srila Prabhupada sat with $7 under a tree in Tompkins Square Park, you transformed that tree into so many royal palaces, and you expanded that $7 into millions of dollars. And when Srila Prabhupada spoke your message, you turned the Malachas and Chandalas into your devotees. And when Srila Prabhupada went all by himself to sell his Srimad Bhagavatam volumes, you expanded him into 10,000 loving salesmen who were working day and night without asking any salary, and you expanded his suitcase of books into 55 million pieces of literature in 23 different languages. And when Hare Krishna land was lost to the demons, you returned it to his divine grace. So from these examples, we can understand that for you, the impossible is not difficult, but rather, you've performed so many impossible feats for your devotees. Therefore, if you desire, please give Srila Prabhupada a new body. Isn't it amazing? Well, I came across that the other day. I was doing some research about Tompkins Square Park, and I came across this, go like, wow, that's really an amazing prayer. And what a vision. It's a vision. A vision. How from one pure devotee all these things emanate. So, see, the Bhakti-Vinod Thakur says, the Prema Bhakta, I told you before, the devotee who's in Nistha can give Shraddha. The devotee who's in Bhava can give Ruchi. And what is one who is in Prem? What can he give? He can give everything. He can give everything. And he is. And we see that Prabhupada just gave us everything. Everything. And he just, yes. And Krishna gave him everything. And just one tree transformed in many, many palaces. A suitcase of books transformed in, 500 million books now, right? I think now it must be more than 10,000 salesmen. I mean, I don't know how many there are, but it's everywhere. All that and so much more. All that. All these miracles just from one pure devotee. People are saying, oh yes, the books, it's not only the person. You never know, like someone may distribute 100 books, someone may distribute one book, but that one book may make a pure devotee. I say, it's not one book makes one devotee, every book makes many devotees. Every book is just going from hand to hand again. The Bhagavad-gita, my first Bhagavad-gita, I don't know where it is. I somehow, it got replaced, I got another one, and the old one is forgotten. It must have fallen into someone else's hands and stayed with that person for a while. And then, from that person again, I got it from someone. I didn't buy it. I would never bought a book from a devotee, not from a Hare Krishna, forget it, Get too close to those people. Oh no, kept a safe distance. But my friend gave me that book. So, thanks. I was going to India anyway, so I said, this is nice, I'll take it to India, something, more about India. I got it. So in this way, somehow or other, Prabhupada's work is not completed,
The miracles that Prabhupada performed, we haven't even seen half of it. We haven't seen 1/10 of it. It's going to go on for 10,000 years, and we haven't seen that whatever emanates from this place. We haven't yet seen it. We haven't yet seen what a pure devotee can do. I mean, but what we've seen is already something. We haven't seen what one book can do. How long? Even when the book is eaten by the worms, right? How many worms will eat that book? Every one of these worms will become devotee as well. Yes. Well, how long will these books act? One page will act. One word will act. Even if you don't read the book. I have one disciple, and he was... his father loved books, and he had this wall of books, like a big bookcase full of books. And then, as a child, he was just looking, and he said, and on the top shelf, there was this effulgent book. There's this one book, it was effulgent. And well, you grow up with it, and that's like, you see everything as a kid, because you have very sharp eyes and very sharp perception. But you can't place it. And you just take it, well, it's all part of reality. So he saw the effulgent book, and that was just part of life. It's a bookshelf, and there's effulgent book amongst the other books, and that's normal. Right? Of course, we know that's not normal to have an effulgent book on your bookshelf. Anyway, it took him 20 years to finally get up. That was on the top shelf. And finally, after 20 years, he climbed up to the top shelf, took the effulgent book, which was Prabhupada's book, and read it and became a devotee. Right? So that's stories, right? That's like, it will multiply. It will multiply. If we go back to Godhead, before the 10,000 years is over, don't worry. You're not going to miss anything, because you can look down from there also, right, and see. Yes. There's a letter to that effect. Prabhupada says, now that my spiritual master has gone back to Godhead, I'm sure that he's still watching everything I do. So from even the spiritual world, you can have a look and see how it unfolds. Because I must admit, I'm curious. I really want to see this miracle. How Prabhupada how his mercy just expands and expands and expands and transforms and transforms. I really want to see it. That's one of my desires, I must say. It's already amazing. What's it going to be? What other miracles are going to happen? And it's like an avalanche. It's multiplying. There was that. I'm going to stop now in a moment and take questions. But there was this article in an Irish newspaper. And the Irish newspaper is describing something about the Hare Krishna movement. And it's saying that, like, he's saying that basically the topic is there something that these Hare Krishnas know that we don't know? Yeah. He's saying now, everyone is talking about yoga. Everyone knows about karma. Everyone knows about reincarnation. So many are becoming vegetarian, vegans. Everyone is gradually, he says, are we all becoming Hare Krishnas? Right? He said, we thought that we would all have to wear robes and all that. Says, there are no robes. But meanwhile, by lifestyle, everyone is going to be a Hare Krishna. And is there something these Hare Krishnas don't know? Is it that one day we're all going to be walking around in robes? All of New York in robes. Everything in the whole city, prasadam. finally we can live a normal life. Now it's now we always have to read the label. Can I eat this? Can I eat that? You smell something? No, can't eat this. Can't eat that. You go. It's like I walked into Whole Foods. And it's like so much non-vegetarian stuff in Whole Foods. It's just terrible. But all from cows from animals that have eaten real grass. Thanks. And no hormones. Okay. But horrible. Yeah. Everywhere. In the middle of the chips, they're like pork chips. Horrible stuff. God.
There's now chicken chips.
Chicken chips. Yeah. Anything chips. Wait till it's going to be human chips. Yeah.
That's what Tom says. At the end of Kali-yuga, we'll start eating.
Sometimes you wonder what the end's going to look like if we're only 5,000 years and it's already like this. And it's like, what's it going to be like? They say there's going to be only meat to eat. Well, as in Australia, there was this drought. And it's like vegetable prices way up. Yeah. Even simple things like ginger. No ginger. There was no ginger in Australia. No ginger. It's a normal household thing. No, not in the drought. Will all disappear. Anyway, having said all these things, we're not worried about these dark things because, like I said this morning, it says gold. Gold looks more beautiful on a black background. And in that way, Prabhupada describes the heart of the pure devotee as a golden heart. So, Prabhupada's outstanding qualities on the black background of Kali-yuga are just overwhelmingly glorious. And therefore, we know all this Kali-yuga is just a backdrop. Just a black backdrop. But the real thing that's going on is not Kali-yuga. The real thing that's going on is Prabhupada is flooding the world with transcendental mercy. He's delivering the whole universe by going from person to person, by leaving no stone unturned. And all the stones will turn. Will stones start floating when you write the name of Prabhupada on them? All the good qualities of a Vaishnava are manifesting in the devotee. Okay, I gotta be quiet. Time is up. Be quiet. Okay, I'll be quiet. Are there any questions? Okay. Yes.
You touched on a topic that has been a dilemma for the Western theologians. You mentioned that it's not by our endeavor, but it's by Krishna's mercy. So the dilemma is grace versus works. In one sense, we can't say that by our work, Krishna gives us the mercy. On the other hand, we have to do some work. So what's our proper understanding of the mentality we develop as we engage in devotional service and look at Krishna for mercy?
Grace versus work. It begins with grace, and then, but that grace is not cheap. I spoke about how devotees can give us shraddha, how devotees can give us taste, but then whatever gift we receive from the Vaishnava, that seed of devotional service must be planted, and then sravana, kirtana, jalasechana, and be watered by devotional service. Then it will mature, and then the creeper of bhakti grows into a mature plant, and eventually will produce fruits of love of God. So the initial gift is something to be taken advantage of. Not, now I don't have to do anything because I received the mercy, which became the Protestant approach. That we reject. That we reject. But without the mercy, there's no devotional service, because devotional service is a gift of the Vaishnavas. It's a gift of Krishna, a gift of the Vaishnavas. The Vaishnavas are the caretakers of devotional service in this world. So whenever devotional service comes to us, it's always a gift of a Vaishnava. Sometimes they may have left something behind, and we find it, a book on a bookshelf. Right? But ultimately, a Vaishnava had something to do with it. Therefore, it begins with mercy. And then we go to work with that mercy. And then on the way, we need more mercy. We are in dire need of mercy. And meanwhile, service can attract mercy. Mercy is costless. It comes without any reason. But then, service can attract mercy. So let us serve Krishna and the Vaishnavas and attract more mercy. Because ultimately, at the end of life, the sum total of all we have done in devotional service will be by far outweighed by the sum total of all the mercy that we have received. That is spiritual life. Yes.
In the beginning, you were talking about the nature of the jiva, how our spirit is always in the spiritual world, but that we're covered by material energy. And I always had some confusion about this topic, because on the one hand I hear that the jiva, like at one point, was in the spiritual world, as though I was a pure devotee, but for some reason I have fallen into the material world. But then I also read that the conditioned soul that has been conditioned since time immemorial. Could you clarify this?
One can never understand such statements without the Acharya. Therefore, dharmasya tattvam nitam guhayam, that the real understanding of transcendental knowledge remains hidden within the heart of a devotee. Therefore, there must be a spiritual master, Prabhupada, who revealed things to us. So Prabhupada explained this Nityabada, this eternally fallen, doesn't mean eternal in the literal dictionary sense of the word, but it means for a period of time that is no longer measurable. It is so long that we have no way to measure it. And when you have no more number, then you generally put the infinite symbol. Right? So Nitya Bada, eternally fallen, means only fallen for a very long time. We are thinking in a linear way. We like to think of a beginning and an end. We have to think in a cyclic way. And we have to understand that. So we have to see, we can be in the spiritual world, we can be in the material realm, we can be in all these realms, potentially. How is it possible? Can a pure devotee become covered by the illusory energy? How is that possible? A devotee absorbed in Krishna, how can he forget Krishna? Well, potentially it's possible, right? Potentially it's possible to be independent. It's ontologically possible. It's built in in the system. We are able to be fallen. It is potentially, but it's possible. So under what conditions can this come about? Well, are we in the spiritual world suddenly becoming envious? Wake up one day and say, I don't know what it is, but I don't feel like serving that guy. Everyone's just rolling over the floor. I mean, he's really nobody. He's not that special. I know him very well. I've been around here. If you're a newcomer, maybe. But if you've been around longer, then you know the real inside story. Shall I tell you the inside story? You know what I mean? You don't want to know, do you? Okay. But I know. No, not like that. Not like that. Rather, it's curiosity that kills the cat, as the old saying goes. Somewhere upon eternity, we realize that, hey, it is in the potential of my being to be the master and the enjoyer. Just the thought alone is an interruption. Just the thought alone is a moment. And there are no moments. Just the thought alone is another realm known as tatastha. And that tatastha, tata means, is a car in India, but tata also means the edge. Tata means the edge, tatastha, on the edge. Then we are in an in-between state, not fallen, nor not fallen to the material world, nor engaged in service. Tatastha. From that thought, we can shake it off. No, immediately return to full absorption, 100% focused on Krishna. Or we can say, interesting. And when we say interesting, there comes the illusory energy. And here we are in New York City, Maya's capital.
Maharaj, you don't think that the knowing of the unknown is what is preventing a lot of people
Yeah, the knowing of the unknown.
to get involved in the spiritual, because you don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, and you don't know what you're going to get. It's quite scary, I mean, better one bird in the hand than 10 in the sky or something like that. But I don't know what to say in English. The English saying is a little different, I think, but something like that, right?
Bird in the hand rather than a bird in the bush, something like that.
Okay, that's the English one. A bird in the hand, bird in the bush. Yeah, I translated the Dutch one, the Dutch version for you. But anyway, the point is this: better why do people stay so close to their family? Is it because they love their family so much? No, they don't. I mean, in many cases, there are all kinds of things going on in families that are not called love, I mean, it's a monster alliance. It's not love. It's by monster alliance that we stay together. Because better a known evil than an unknown one, And it's like, at least, at least you know what to expect from your family members, and you sort of know how to deal with it. You dealt with it your whole life, so you know how to deal with it. So you take the quirks of your family members and stick close together. Now, that's maybe a little grim picture, and maybe there are a few other things, but there's an element of truth in what I'm saying. Yeah? So, yes, hold on to the security, and therefore not venturing out to the unknown. That's why, we go to a movie, because in a movie you can go out of your world and you can go into like a really exciting, dangerous world which, saves you from all the boredom of everyday routine, without putting yourself in real danger. It's great. You can look at danger and feel the emotions without having to really go there. I myself was such an idiot that at 17 years of age, I decided to go overland from Amsterdam to India. And I got all these really outrageous situations, like a wall with a firing squad and all kinds of things, right? And it was me against that wall with the firing squad, for 4 hours. So it's more interesting to stay home and watch the movie. Okay, according to the schedule, I'm supposed to end with a little bit of kirtan, so we have 20 minutes, and 20 minutes is nothing when you do kirtan, as far as I'm concerned. So, thank you very much.